recording. All right. How y'all doing, family? How are y'all doing? I hope y'all are doing all right. If you're new, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Fusion Intuition. On the channel, we talk about basic astrology and a little bit of spirituality, and more spiritual content will come. I guess this would be considered spiritual content because this is not an astrology video, particularly this one I'm doing right now. So I guess this one would fall into the spiritual content category. So what I wanted to talk about was basically karma, and not just in the sense that we know it as in good and bad, even though I am going to touch on that in this video, but I want to dig in more into how we can look at karma incorrectly when we're not really truly being fully honest with ourselves. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So specifically, I want to talk about the trials and say issues that are related to karma not dealt with in past lives. So first, before we get into karma, I would like to talk about a little bit about reincarnation. If you do believe in reincarnation, there is a belief that you've lived past lives and had experiences that have turned into trauma. Basically unhealed wounds that you failed to deal with in that past lifetime. Now, when you think about karma and how we look at karma as in good and bad, in my opinion, one can stack up karmic debt if they don't say take care of these things that are hindering to them, or these patterns that keep showing up in their life. That's how that karmic debt can build. So karma, like I mentioned before, can be good or bad depending on your actions. So you can build up karmic debt through your actions, like how you've treated people, good or bad. Karmic debt could be built up from allowing yourself, like I mentioned before, to go through experiences or traumatic situations and not properly dealing with the aftermath of your emotions and that residual cleanup that you have to do once things happen to you. Like being abused, used, etc. So, just lack of doing the work when you're in traumatic situations like that, and just staying in situations where you know you need to remove yourself. So, these lessons need to be learned. So, when we talk about karma from past lives, we talk about karma in every facet, not just a negative context. So, in today's video, I want to talk about just kind of talk about karma in a little bit of a negative context, so you all can really get an understanding of the message I'm trying to relay in this video. So, again, what is karmic debt? Karmic debt is basically your experiences that you've had that have brought trauma, pain, or anything like that, and you have failed to either learn a lesson or pay up the debt learned from that lesson. So, do you experience how you would know if you owe karmic debt? My apologies. How you would know if you will owe karmic debt? Do you experience karmic relationships? Whether they're platonic, romantic, they're all karmic. Certain patterns. Are you experiencing certain patterns not only within yourself but within your bloodline? Things like this will kind of be an indicator of karmic patterns or karmic debt that you have not really dealt with, because they'll keep showing up in different areas of your life. So you build up this karmic debt when you don't deal with it. So the karmic debt doesn't just go away. What it'll do, you think it goes away because you die, but what it does is it just transfer to the next life. So it doesn't, just disappear. It's going to stay there until you actually clear or pay it up. And a good indicator to find out, say, if you have any karmic debts or energy that you need to work with, pull up your birth chart. That'll give you everything you need to know as far as in your placements and what area of life that you need to learn these lessons. So it's not a stretch to say that the shit that you're experiencing is really your fault. And it's not to come down on anyone. No one's hexed you. No one's put black magic on you. You're actually black magicking yourself by not learning these lessons. And I'm going to just keep it real. So that's the black magic, is you not looking at these patterns and you're continuing to put yourself in these patterns. No one's doing it to you but yourself. So like I mentioned before, look at your birth chart. Look at your Saturn placement. It's a big indicator of the restrictions and the lessons that you need to learn in this area. So, say that your Saturn is in the second house. Second house is, our money, our possessions, our values, your self worth. So, when it comes to the second house, you will find that when it comes to, say, maybe your money or your self worth, how you view yourself, you may struggle in this area because either you haven't cleared up a certain karma from past lifetimes, or you haven't paid up debt, or however that may look, depending on the rest of your birth chart. But again, it's a perfect indicator of that second house placement, and that's the area in life where you really need to learn these lessons. These are karmic debt not paid or lessons not learned within this area. So say you have a Saturn placement in the seventh house. This is our interpersonal relationships. You will need to learn lessons around relationships, whether they're, business partnerships, close relationships. You need to learn the lessons of Saturn in this seventh house, and you need to clear up this debt. So if you don't, say, clear up that area in life, Saturn will continue to whoop your ass. Just a nice way to put it, because I have no other way to put it, because that's exactly what Saturn does. So when you don't take the initiative and put in time and hard work to heal yourself, this is what is lingering and restricting your growth. And on top of that, you're creating more karmic situations because you're not really putting together and understanding that I have to clear up the internal stuff that's already projecting this type of reality before I can even think about doing anything else. Because all you'll do is just build up that karmic debt. Just stacking it up, stacking it up, stacking it up. So the next time you feel that the world is against you, or some unseen forces are ruining your life, and it's not to say that some things happen to us, are not within our control, because sometimes life just pans out that way. But most of the time it's you. It's a situation either you put yourself in knowingly or unknowingly, and now you're experiencing basically the aftermath of it. So be real with yourself. Ask yourself, is it my actions or lack thereof that has brought me into this place in my life? More than likely, the answer is yes. It's not the easiest thing to admit that majority of those problems that we have is because of the shit that we have not dealt with. But you will keep recycling the same experiences, just with a different face, if you do not take care of it. So, I was a little hesitant on doing this video because of the topic itself about karma, how one could view karma, karmic debt, what it entails, but just my experience through just my personal experiences, my walk with spirituality, and just not just looking at my situation, but the situations of others as well. I can honestly say and be real with myself in the situations that I see that a lot of the time the shit we go through is our fault, whether we want to admit it or not. And that's the hardest thing to do. Then you want to get it mad and get in arguments with people about how unfair your life is. But look at your Saturn placement. And it's not to say that that the situation you're experiencing is right and that you deserve it. It's there to teach you. That's all it is. And sometimes lessons can be very hard. Sometimes we may not get lessons the first time, and sometimes we have to keep repeating those lessons until we actually get it. And the same thing with your personal life. Like if you have, say, experienced, trauma in your relationships, it's going to be very hard for you to have very healthy relationships if you don't fix the reasons why you may have a negative attitude or have negative patterns that you follow when you date. You have to address that first, because you can blame everyone on the outside of you all day long, but you physically have to say yes or no, I'm not going to engage in this situation. So at the end of the day, it all boils down to you and how you choose to see certain things that are happening to you. And I believe once you actually wake up and see, you know what, I have to start doing things differently, you're one step closer to basically relieving that karmic debt. That's what it's all about. Just understand and know that it will never go away until you address it head on. And actually, when you don't address certain energies within you, they manifest into more fucked up energies that you're even not even familiar with anymore, because you've let that trauma just turn and create a life of its own. And that's why you have people out here, maybe like the Jeffrey Donalds and stuff like that, and the other names I'm not going to mention, because again, when you have trauma or traumatic experiences that you go through and you don't get the proper help for it, it manifests into all types of crazy shit, and it never goes away. Just always understand that it will get worse, before it gets better, if you do try to work on it. So that was my quick video on debt from past lives. Jump down in the comments or let me know, how do you feel about karmic debt, past lives, if you believe in it, if you don't. I don't care. This is just my opinion on just like karma and how I seen it, my experiences with karma, and how I choose to deal with certain things in my life going forward, and how I've seen changes just based on me choosing to have a particular mindset towards certain things that are considered karmic in my life. So I'm only speaking from that place.